Who needs sleep? Am I right? A gentle breeze of an evening interrupted by a sharp gust of reality. I haven't cried yet, so that's something, I guess. It's kind of boring. Why did I do this to myself? Tilly Cole, explain yourself. Why did everyone call this guy their son? Like, I'm so confused. My plan for the day? Read for 24 hours straight. Basically, I have a really long physical TBR that I want to make shorter. And so I figured a 24-hour readathon is perfect. If I'm reading for 24 hours, I can get a lot of reading done. Obviously, I did this in mind with making my TBR shorter. Since I came up with this plan, I have made my TBR longer as well, because I may or may not have bought an extra book yesterday. But it's okay, because we'll be reading soon. I also asked Mel from thebookishmel if she didn't have a life this weekend, basically. Although for someone who's actually in full-time work, it's obviously a lot more difficult to do a full 24-hour readathon. Very understandable. But I did ask her if she wanted to do a readathon with me this weekend, and she said yes. Basically, because I'm in Glasgow, I'm on British Standard Time. Mel is in LA, so she's on Pacific Standard Time, and so there's an 8-hour difference between us. We figured out the best way to do it would be for me to start at 12, so noon for me, because right now at noon it's 4 AM for Mel. I think she's planning on starting at 6 AM her own time, so 2 PM my time. Also, I say I was meant to start at 12. It's 12:30 now, so I haven't started yet. I'm gonna aim to start at 1, because then I only need to stay awake until 1 PM tomorrow. Who needs sleep? Am I right? I have a stack of 7 books here. I know that in a 24-hour time span, I'm not reading 7 books. There's no way that I'm reading 7 books in 24 hours. I'm like, don't think that that's what I think, okay? I'm a mood reader and I know I need options. Anyway, these are the books I'm going to read / potentially read. The first one is Weather Girl by Rachel Lynn Solomon. Now, if you watched my most recent Glasgow Diaries vlog, you'll see that I'm reading that book in there. I wanted to finish this book before I started the 24-hour readathon, but I haven't. I have about 100 pages left of the book, so I figured I'll start by finishing this book and then move on to another book. The next one I have, which is the one I bought yesterday, because I've been looking for this book everywhere, is The Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest. It's a very floppy book as well, which I really enjoy. The next book is Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I started this book last summer. I'm on page 160. If I end up reading this book, I will probably start it again from the beginning, because I don't remember much of it. Next book we have is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I think I bought this book in October, because I was like, oh, that's a perfect time to read this kind of book, and then I didn't end up reading it. This is meant to be really good, like murder mystery. Next we have On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. I bought this book secondhand online and it's got like water damage, so that's not great, but oh well. I briefly started this book on my way to Paris last year, but I just wasn't in the mood. I read like 2 pages. This is meant to be quite sad, and I'm not sure if it's the best book to read in a 24-hour readathon, but we'll see. And then we have Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma. I got this actually as a birthday gift from Heaven. Apparently it's meant to be quite a good, fun romance. The final 2 books are books that I bought last week. We have A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. This is definitely very high up on my list of books out of all of these I want to read. Honestly, I think this is the first book I'm going to read after I finished Weather Girl. I feel like if I keep this on my bookshelf and wait a while, I'm gonna end up not being in the mood to read it in like 2 months. So I feel like if I get it out of the way now, that's probably a good idea. And the final book is Just My Type by Fallon Ballard. So we have this stack of 7 books. I absolutely will not get through all of them, as I've already said, but potentially some of them. I'll get a coffee ready, get on caffeine early on, and then we will see how I get on. I'm assuming I'll get a message from Mel in like just over an hour or so, when she's woken up and when she started. And then we'll be doing some reading sprints, I'm sure. And yeah, also I will leave Mel's video down in the description, first line, so that you can check that one out as well. Let's get a drink and then let's get reading. I made myself an iced coffee, so that's great. I have my first book here, Weather Girl, and it's 1 o'clock. So I say put on the I actually cannot believe I'm gonna be reading for 24 hours. It's 1 o'clock, and so I say let the, what's this? Readathon commence. Oh, it's just her one. Start. It's almost 3 p.m, which means we're almost at the second hour of the 24 hours. I've just finished Weather Girl by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This book, I'm not gonna give it a rating yet because I feel like I need to sit with the story for a bit after before I rate it, because I'm not entirely sure how many stars to give it. I'd say between 3 and 4 stars, definitely. To me, this book had quite a slow start. I struggled to get into the story properly, but once I did enjoy it. And then a bit towards like the 60% mark, there were some things that I wasn't enjoying as much that made me feel a bit strange. But then once I got past that, I really enjoyed the rest of it. Not to go into much detail because I need to go back to reading. I will say one thing I really enjoyed about the book is how the author depicts Ari's mental health. You get to know very early on that Ari struggles with depression. I honestly think the mental health aspect of the book, when we see how Ari's dealing with that and how she's living with depression, she has her dark days, but she also has her happy days, and kind of reading about how she struggles to open up to people and let people come close to see the real, true her, is very inspiring in a way. The author wrote a Dear Reader thing at the front, and she wrote something that I really enjoyed. I wanted this book to highlight a neurodiverse heroine who happens to be on medication and in therapy, falling in love and thriving. I wanted to show the messy, heavy parts of her life alongside the moments that sweep her off her feet. And I wanted a hero who'd love her through her dark days, not despite them. Because to me, that's the most romantic thing of all. Also, really cute, each chapter is named something like weather themed because Ari's a meteorologist. So it's always like forecast, cloudy with a chance of public humiliation, some unwelcome introspection with a glimmer of hope on the horizon, a gentle breeze of an evening interrupted by a sharp gust of reality. I adored the like weather jokes along the way as well. I do love a great pun. I think this was the perfect blend of fun and romantic, but also realistic. And to put it into some weather themed words or phrases, the book is kind of a perfect mix of sunny days and dark days, I will say. I would recommend this book. It's a bit of a slow start, but overall thoroughly enjoyed. Now, on to the next book. I'm leaning more towards A Thousand Boy Kisses, but at the same time, I know it's meant to be quite sad. So don't know if I should pick up another book instead. I'll read this one. Okay. This is the next one. I'm gonna get a pen because I might want to animate it actually. Cue tears in approximately 10 hours? I don't know. Right, I'm on page 17. The boy in the book, because we meet them first when he's like 5 years old, and then, or when they're 5 years old. Now they're 8 in the first chapter, which is fine, but they're like best friends now after 3 years. The guy's name is Rune, which is the very typical like Norwegian name, I guess. But he's saying like poppy mean, which means like my poppy. But like, why would an 8-year-old say that? I can understand if you'd say that, I guess, like as an adult to like your partner, but I'm very confused as to why an 8-year-old is saying that. Also, it's really funny because whenever they're talking about his parents, like his mom and dad, they're always saying like the word for mom and the word for dad in Norwegian. So it's like, I know my mama told me when I got back from school. I don't know if that's a thing for the book or if it's just because they're like young and that's why. But like, whenever I'm talking about my mum, I say my mum in English, not the Norwegian word for mum. Maybe I'm just being a bit too critical about the language in this book. I don't know. It's just something I noticed when I was reading. I'm on page 68. We are how long into this challenge? 3 hours and 50 minutes. I promise I'm not going to do updates this often later on. But, okay, it does say on the back, their roles were shattered when the guy was sent back to his native Norway. So, basically, Poppy and Rune meet for the first time when he moves from Norway to Georgia because of his dad's job, and they're next door neighbors. Then from they're like 8 years old until 15, they're kind of like in a relationship. They're like best friends and they're like, we're gonna stay together forever. You're the love of my life, kind of. That's the situation. Now, because of his dad's job again, Rune needs to move back to Norway with his parents. and so he has to leave Poppy behind in Georgia. And obviously, heartbreaking things. I don't feel that sad about it. I'm not sure if I'm meant to feel sad about it, but like 70 pages in, and the only thing this book has given me so far is the story of these two kids who were next door neighbors from when they were 5 to 15, and they've fallen in love with each other. The only thing I know about the guy is that he likes to take photos, like he's into photography, and he's from Norway. And the only thing I know about the girl, Poppy, is that she plays cello, and that's it. I literally know nothing about the characters other than that information, which is so strange when you're like that far into the book. I mean, I say that far into the book, but like 70 pages into the book, you should know a bit about the characters. But I don't. And like, I get that the main focus is like their love story, but like every single time they're together, it's just been like, I love you, and then they kiss, and it's the same thing, because whenever they have a special kiss, she's like, oh, this is kiss number da 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 da, and I'm like, okay. Also, I'm still confused about the Norwegian stuff in this book. Rune has a younger brother called Alton. I've never heard of anyone in Norway named Alton. I feel like the parents aren't acting in Norwegian. And like, I'm pretty sure in the book it says that his parents are from Oslo. Like, they're from Oslo. His whole family's in Oslo. Like, that's what they say all the time. And so they're distinctly Norwegian. In the prologue, when they first moved there, his mum was telling him like, oh, we have to speak English now because we're in the States. We're no longer in Norway anymore. But like, that makes no sense. By the time he's 5 and they've moved to the States, he can already speak English, it seems. And so I don't really get why they have to speak English in the house. He'll go to an American school, so he'll speak English at the school. And so he doesn't actually have to speak English with his parents at home, but they do. Even now, when he's like 15, they still speak English at home, it seems. Also, another thing I found strange is that his dad always calls him son. And like, I know in any other book, like, that would be normal and understandable. But to me, that's a very strange thing for a Norwegian dad to say. In Norway, I would never hear a dad call his son instead of his name. At least I've never come across that. Even though the dad's speaking in English, it's still strange to me, because I cannot for the life of me imagine that a Norwegian dad, even if he was speaking in English to his son, would be like, son, it's time to go, or something like that. Just a couple of thoughts from a Norwegian native. Also, the guy's like very stereotypical Norwegian. Like, he's got long blonde hair and blue eyes, like striking blue eyes. And I'm like, okay, go. If anyone's read this book and you know why the author decided to make the character Norwegian, please let me know. Anyway, we're almost at the 4th hour, and yeah, this book is not starting off great. I don't know, I haven't cried yet, so that's something, I guess. I think I know I'm gonna cry at the end of this book now. 6 hours into the challenge, which means we're 1/4 into the challenge. I'm 150 pages into 1,000 Boy Kisses, so I'm almost halfway through the book. It's kind of boring. The book is mostly just sad and boring at the moment, to be honest. I'm sure it's meant to be cute as well, and it is in one sense, but because it's kind of predictable what's gonna happen. Obviously, I have predictions on how it ends and why people are crying over the ending. I don't have high hopes for the ending, to be honest. Will I cry? Probably. But take that with a pinch of salt, because I'm the kind of person who cries at every sad thing. It's also 7 p.m, so I might have dinner soon. Starting this challenge at 1 instead of like when I woke up at 8 this morning, probably not the best idea, because then I was already awake for like 5 hours before I started reading. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We're getting there. We're getting there. I'm excited to finish this book so that I can like get to something that's a bit more fun. Anyway, I'm gonna have dinner now and then I'll update you soon. I need to be a bit more quiet because my flatmate's gone to bed and she's got work in the morning, and so I can't be loud. 9.5 hours into this thing. It's currently 10:30 in the evening. I'm on my second cup of coffee. I have had a bridge left. I'll be honest, if I wasn't doing a readathon, I don't think I would finish this book. Like, potentially, but I would put this away and do something else in the meantime. There's like different things in the book that's annoying me a lot. All the Norwegian stuff is like something that's like on the back of my mind every single time. The dad still keeps calling his son. But I do think now that he's older, they do speak Norwegian in the household, it seems. Even then, like in Norwegian, you would never say, let's just do a random phrase. Come here, son. Kom her, son. You would never say that. That's very strange to me. And he says it every time. The dad says son after every single sentence. And I'm like, why do you not just say his name? I think it's a very American thing. I could be wrong though. That's one thing that's wrong me. Also, Guy, the Norwegian boy, Rune, has a driver's license. How? It's basically impossible for him to actually be able to drive. Because he moved back to Norway when he was 15. He's back in the States now when he's 17. Now, I know in the States you can get your license from you're 16. So, from an American's point of view, or people who don't know other driver's license rules, other than like from outside of the States, it makes perfect sense, I'm sure, that he can drive when he's 17 in the States. Because you think like, oh, maybe he just got his license in Norway and he's now driving. There's no way for him to have been able to get his license in Norway, because you can't get your license until you turn 18. And he's not 18 yet. So he can't have gotten his license in Norway. He can't have taken his driver's license test in the States either before he left for Norway, because he was only 15. And he was driving like straight away when he was back in the States, like after 2 weeks. And like the first thing that he did when he got back to the States was not to take a driver's license. I'm sorry. So, Tilly Cole, explain yourself. How does this boy, have a driver's license? I know there's such tiny details, and I'm sure a lot of people that have read this book have not cared as to why this boy has his driver's license. They're like, okay, he can drive, he's 17. Sure, that makes sense. But how did he get it? Anyway, I think it's time to see if I'll cry when I get to the end of this book. Why did I do this to myself? Literally, why? Ugh. Well, that was emotional. 2 minutes until we hit the 12-hour mark. I love that for us. I just finished 1,000 Boy Kisses. Yes, it did do that to me. The ending was really nice and beautiful and sad, which we all knew would happen on this. I think overall the book has a really beautiful message about how you need to cherish every moment of your life, because you never know what's gonna happen, and life is beautiful. I think it's a really beautiful story, although obviously sad. That being said, like the start of the book, kind of strange. It was overall just like a bit of a strange book. Like, I enjoyed the end, and I enjoyed like the story between Rune and Poppy. The weird Norwegian things, the dad kept saying son. Why did everyone call this guy their son? Like, I'm so confused. And Poppy's dad called him son. That makes sense because he's American. When his own dad called him son, it made no sense because his dad's Norwegian. Make sense. I still don't know how he got his driver's license. That's something I will question until the day I'm gone. Although I did enjoy the ending, because I've been complaining about this book the whole day that I've been reading it, with like certain things, and it was a bit boring in the middle, like, because you know what's going to happen at the end. Like, you get to know on page like 150 or something what's going to happen at the end, and so you're kind of just reading and waiting for the ending to come. The tears does not mean it's going to get a higher rating. I apologise, but we all knew that I was going to cry. We all saw that coming. Will I cry? Probably. But take that with a pinch of salt, because I'm the kind of person who cries at every sad thing. At least me. So that wasn't surprising to me. I wasn't surprised by the ending, and I don't think anyone was, let's be honest. I think overall I'd probably give this 3 stars. I don't think I could give it a higher rating. You know what, at one point I was going to give it 2.5 stars, but the ending kind of saves it. I'm gonna take 5 minutes to compose myself, and then we're gonna move on to the next book. And Mel has said that she wants to do reading sprints, so this is great. They're both second chance romance books, but this one has enemies to lovers as well. Well, Just My Type, Fallon Ballard, and then The Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest. Next book on the agenda, Just My Type by Fallon Ballard. We're almost 18 hours into this challenge. The sun has risen. I say that it's cloudy outside, but the light has come back because it is 10 to 7. I haven't had many updates because I have been doing reading sprints with Mel for the past, like, honestly, how long have we been doing this? Yeah, we've been doing this for 5 hours. We've been doing the Pomodoro method, where we read for 25 minutes and then we have a break, and then we read for another 25 minutes and then a break. And it's honestly worked quite well because I'm quite tired, and having someone to chat with has definitely helped me. But obviously with us doing this, I'm not reading as much as I probably would have been able to read if I was just doing this by myself. But this is a lot more fun. Also, I feel like if I was doing this by myself, I probably would have crashed and burned by now. I am reading Just My Type by Fallon Ballard, and I'm really enjoying it actually. It's the perfect kind of book to read after a sad book. I'm almost 150 pages in, so yes. I was doing a reading update.
Okay, well I'm going to bid you the best of luck.
Thank you. I'm on the home
The
stretch.
powers are strong. Like 24 hours is such a long time.
I could just continue and not go to sleep. I will not be doing that.
Do that.
I will not be doing that.
Okay.
Bye. Good night. Sleep tight.
Thank you.
We've reached 20 hours. How crazy. Mel and I have been on FaceTime. We've chatted, had our reading sprint for the past 7 hours, which is wild. I'm on page 245 and the book's 230 pages-ish. So I've got like just under 100 pages left, but it is currently 9 o'clock. So I will be having breakfast and a coffee, because if I'm going to stay awake for the next 4 hours, I need more things to sustain me to go on further. Thinking like, I'm going to finish this book in less than 4 hours, and then I'm going to start a new book. But the next book I start, I'm not going to be able to finish because I don't have time. And honestly, once I hit 24 hours, I'm going to have to go to sleep because I'm so tired. Honestly, without Mel, I would be asleep right now. Like, hours ago, I would have gone to sleep. 2.5 hours left on the clock. I'll be honest, I'm ready to fall asleep right now. I was this close to falling asleep an hour ago. I have enjoyed doing this challenge because I've gotten a lot of reading done, and it's exciting to see like how much I can actually get done in like a 24-hour time span. But at the same time, I really wish I started earlier on in the day, because now that I've like made it to morning, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to be done now. Because like if I'd started at 8 AM, I would have been done 2.5 hours ago. So I definitely think starting earlier on in the day is a lot better. I thought like, oh, 12 to 12, like that's fine. But then I started at 1, so now I'm doing 1 to 1, and it's just not great. We are almost at 23 hours. But I have made the executive decision to stop now with an hour left. The reason being, I just finished Just My Type by Fallon Ballard. Very much enjoyed this book. This was a great book. Very cute, very funny. Second chance romance. Bit of rivalry, and yeah, really enjoyed it. My brain's not functioning anymore. I have not slept in 28 hours. Basically, because I just finished it, I'm like, I have an hour left of the 24-hour reading challenge. Is there any point in me starting a new book with only an hour left? Because realistically, I'm not gonna really be able to read that much. So yeah, my bed is calling for me, and I simply have to pick up. That being said, I'd say we've had a pretty successful 23-hour readathon. I finished Weather Girl, which I was very happy about, and then I've also read 1,000 Boy Kisses and Just My Type. So I think in total, let's see, A Thousand Book is 340 pages. And this is also 340 pages, so that's 680. 780. I think I've read about 800 pages, and that's in 23 hours. And that's also with like a fair amount of breaks. I can't say that I've been reading non-stop because that would be lying. Mel and I's reading sprints definitely made me read less but also read more, because she kept me awake during the most difficult hours during the night. Because we were video chatting as we were doing our reading sprints, every single time we'd read for 25 minutes, we had like breaks where we chatted a lot. And obviously, sometimes you just get lost in the chat, and then we were suddenly like talking for a bit more than a 10-minute break every time. And yeah, but I finished 3 books. And personally, that's a success for readathon to me. I can feel myself falling asleep as I'm sat here talking to you. So I'm gonna go to bed. That being said, please do remember to check out Mel's video as well. It is in the description, as I've previously mentioned. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and let me know what you think. Have you read any of these books that I read today? If so, let me know what you thought of them. And yeah, until next time, happy reading.